Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little fella right here, Get the Cheese. This is designed by Hisashi Hayashi and put out by Stronghold Games here in the States. It was distributed by someone else overseas, but this is the Stronghold version called Get the Cheese. Now this is basically I guess one might call it a set collection type of game because you are trying to collect different sets of things, but not really, because you're just trying to score the most points by getting the most mice to eat some cheese, the most cats to chase away some other mice, and some dogs to chase away a bunch of cats. So I know that sounds strange. You'll understand it in just a few moments. Let's get down to the table. So here I have set up for you a 3-player game of Get the Cheese from Stronghold Games. And basically each person is going to be getting their own stack of cards. Those stack of cards have, first of all, a house that will be, of course, their place, I guess you could say. It also denotes their color. Cool thing to note is that there is also the symbols here in the corners that will help with not recognizing the colors and so forth and so on. And then you'll also have a, I believe it's a 15 card deck in your own color. This is the red, and of course it's purple, yellow, green, and blue, I believe, are the colors. In this deck, there are, first of all, there's one King Mice, or King Mouse, which has a special ability. He goes to the last person in line goes to the front. He gets to eat first. There are also dogs that will scare cats away if they are immediately adjacent to the dogs, whether in front or behind. Then you also have your own little mice, and these are how many points that mouse is worth if he eats at the end of the game for you. And then there, of course, are also cats who will be chasing mice up to 3 spots away from where they are in the line. There is another thing here, is that more often than not, you have to play your cards face up in the line. We'll get to that in just a few moments. But this symbol right here means that even if you do need to play this card face up, you can play it face down. Not all the cards have it on there, of course, as you can see there. So there is that. But they have all different kinds of mice in here, different point totals that they are worth, and so forth and so on. Now, at the beginning of the game, everybody starts with a hand of 3 cards. And on your turn, you're either going to play 3 cards from your hand, or you're going to draw 3 cards from your deck. Those are the only 2 things that you can do, and you must do one of those. You cannot pass. Now, when you play a card, or rather when you choose to play cards in the circle, you have to play in one of the different lines that are leading up to these blocks of cheese. Now, when you play your cards, the first card that you have to play is played face down in front of any cheese card. Then, the second card is placed face up next to the cheese in clockwise order. So if I played my first card here, let's just do that. Let's go with that right there. I play it face down, and then I have to play my next cards face up. You know what? I'm actually going to do this instead. And we'll go here and here as well. Now, if you choose to draw cards up into your hand, you can do that, but there is a maximum hand size of 6. So the person here with yellow, if they wanted to on their first turn, they could draw 3 cards up into their hand, and that would be their turn. Now, when it comes back around to my turn, if I don't have any cards in my hand, I have to do something. I can't play cards, so I've got to draw cards. So I'll draw 3, and that's the end of my turn. And then once all of the cards have been played out by all of the different players, each line is going to be scored. Okay, so I've oriented the cards this way. This was the one that was closest to the cheese block. This is the one that was furthest away. Now, the first thing that we do is we take care of the dogs. So the dogs are going to scare away any cats that are immediately next to either one of those sides. So this cat goes away and becomes part of green's tableau that they're going to score during the end phase, this end phase scoring. Then we're going to the dogs will stay there, but then we're going to score any cats. Well, there aren't any more cats left because the dog chased the one cat away. And then king mice. If there are any king mice in here, they will move to the front of the line closest to the cheese block. And then finally, the cheese is scored, which means that 4 mice are going to be able to eat from this cheese block. And it is always the first one, second, third, and then this one doesn't count, and then this one as well. So purple will get a mouse that has eaten, and then green was able to get 3 mice that have eaten in their tableau. And then these are just done away with. And now with this 3 cheese block over here, first of all, dogs happen, so the dog will scare that green cat away and then go away himself. And then any cats that are here, no. King mice will move up to the front of the line like this. And then 3 mice will be able to eat. So yellow, their king mice eats. Green gets another mouse, and then that one is eaten. And these 2 are done away with. And then finally, players will simply tally the points that they got. For example, here, green was able to catch 1 cat, getting 3 points for that. And then their cat was able to catch 4 mice, getting 2, 4, 5 points from that. And then the number of mice of theirs that were able to eat was 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10, 15, 18 points for green for that game of Get the Cheese. And that's how you play Get the Cheese. Let's get to my final thoughts. So that's that for Get the Cheese from Hisashi Hayashi and Stronghold Games. It is a very simple card game. It does not take a long time to play at all. And the artwork is good. The gameplay is very simple. Either play 3 cards or draw 3 cards on your turn. No passing. So there isn't a whole lot of convolution there at all. None whatsoever, really. The difficulty comes, though, in the memory aspect or the trying to outthink your opponent aspect of the game. And that's where it might get a little heavy. The box says that it goes down to 8-year-old players. I don't know that that's absolutely good. I'm not saying that no 8-year-old will get it. I will say, though, that my son, who is about to turn 8, had a very difficult time grokking what cards he should play, where he should play them, and so forth and so on. And it turned out that he just didn't fare very well in the point scheme at all at the end of the game. So I say that just to provide somewhat of a very basic litmus test to see that maybe 8 years old is a little bit too low to really kind of understand how the game is played. They can definitely play the game. It's very simple, but I don't know if they're going to be able to understand it right off the bat or even after a few plays. All that having been said, there are some pros to the game. First of all, I've already said it plays very quickly, and there is really no downtime. On top of that, you also have a good look to the game. And that's one of the things that I really like when games have it, because I want it to look good on the table so that other people will walk by and say, hey, that's neat, what is it, and all this other kind of stuff, and that starts some conversations. On top of that, I think that the cardstock is good, so the component quality is also well done, and I think they have a very tight package here. So those are all good things about the game. Some of the bad things about the game, in my opinion, are that sometimes people can just get lucky and have those cards placed in the right spot at the right time. You might get your cards, if you get your cat cards early in the game, that's kind of bad, because pretty much after the second turn, you have to play cards. So now, granted, you can still work with that, because even if you do have your cat cards in your original hand, your first turn is going to be to draw cards. And then you can play only 3 of those 6 on that second turn, and then your third turn, you can draw more cards, unless you really think that you can get some good mice pickups on that third turn. But you never know. Dogs are kind of the same way, because people are probably going to reserve to play their cats until they know they're going to possibly get 3 mice from it. So it just, luck of the draw is heavy on this game, I guess I'll put it that way. You could get your cards in a very even keel, but on the same coin, pretty much, you could really get messed over by simply the luck of the draw. So for me, that is a downside to the game because it is just a card game that is based completely, solely on the luck of the draw. There are no other factors to mitigate that at all, that I'm aware of at least. So there is that. But that's, I guess, a very minor thing that some people will have a problem with. Others won't. It's just a light filler game, which I completely understand and get that. And I think that it is one of those games that will fill that filler role, if I can say it that way, in a very decent and good way. So with all that having been said, I'm going to give Get the Cheese a strong 7 out of 10. Now the reason I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 is because I think it is a great filler game, and I think it is also good for families who have 8, maybe 9-year-olds or pretty savvy 8-year-olds that will be able to carry over some of those deeper intricacies of gameplay, where to play those dogs, where to play the cats, and so forth and so on. So I do think it's a great game. I do think it's good for those family settings. It also works well in gamers settings, game night settings, because I have played it with other gamers with the original version of, I believe it was called Gouda cheese, that was distributed overseas. So yeah, 7 out of 10. I think it's good. I think it's fun, and I think families will definitely enjoy it. Gamers will too as well, in a filler role. So that's it for Get to the Cheese from Stronghold Games. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side.